and showing up with the banners and all the things that everyone did. Like, this is so amazing. We've already raised $5,000 for over $5,000 for the it's just from our pickup. Just from our pickup. So I know we can do that. Maybe we're gonna be able to raise 20 bucks with everyone's support. So I just want to tell you about this because this is a team effort and we would not be everyone here plugging in and helping. So thank you.
And the email went out today of the goal of sending to how many in your SOI?
Yes, so if you guys send your SOI by Friday, whoever sends to the most people will get this $6 Uber gift card. We're gonna have fun challenges that much fun.
Uber, which is gonna come in handy when we talk about this big reveal that we got going on here.
So I have a question on how to, like. So she was talking about sending the link.
You want your own link. So you each have your own.
You can send my link if you want.
You're gonna get like random stuff from people from Poland.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Too, Ron.
If you're having issues finding your own link, let me know and I'll have our reps send your link to you directly. So you can use the copy and share it to your people. Or you can get together and I can go.
Cool.
Did you say Poland? You have a big SOI in Poland?
Oh, they sent me like stuff.
If you're not expanding outside the US into cities like Poland, maybe you're not doing your SOI as justice as you should. All right, any more bucket fills? Happy birthday, everyone that's here. Who's here that's on the birthday list? We're gonna sing, you're gonna come to the front, we're gonna celebrate, it was gonna be a huge party. Happy birthday. Is October a big month? What's the October sign? Scorpio? What does that mean? And indulge in that. Anything of value? Based. Emotionally, mentally, or physically?
All the above.
All right, let's welcome our newcomers, Jared, Erica, Ron, and Brianna. So cool. Welcome to the brokerage. We have, are any of them here? No.
Ron's on Zoom.
Ron's got some killer glasses, so if you ever see him, he can weld and sell roast at the same time.
There you go.
All right, this week, what stands out, Bradley, Lauren, as far as the tech training, what are we specializing in this week?
We are specializing in smart plans and contacts. So if you're having struggles getting that going, come see us. We'll help you out.
I have often when I have conversations with you agents, there's always a frustration about command. Good news, we have your solution, Bradley and Lauren. So any worries there, you can go cry on their shoulder. Bradley's super
He loves
And the
it,
patient.
He's super patient, empathetic, and all that good stuff. Ignite, if you're not attending Ignite, you want to reset. That's tonight at 5 and then Thursday at 5. Compliance with Ken. Anything you want to specialize this week, Ken?
Yeah, if you're newer in the business, probably under a year, I'm gonna talk about MLS hacks, which is kind of not compliance, but kind of is, but there's some little things that you can do to make CMAs and contracts and information about the MLS quicker and easier for you. So if you don't know what those hacks are, join us.
Love it. All right, Sean. Oh, sorry. No, KW Cares, we've kind of covered this. This is October 15th. It's a watch party. It's going to be 3 hours, just 3 hours with your leadership team. Is there anything more enjoyable than that? But we're covering 3 different things. We've kind of talked about this. You guys should all have seen it. We've already bought it. So it's going to be our team meeting on the 15th. That's 2 weeks from today. And next week is CE on Lauren.
Title insurance red flag.
Title insurance red flags. Oh, which is great because today we're going to cover a lot of red flags and tactical empathy. I'm so excited. Oh, this is the lineup that we talked about on the 15th, leads, listings, and leverage.
Yeah, so if you guys are here for the full 3 hours, this is all in central time. But feel free to pop in for whatever section you want, or if you do want to come hang out with us for 3 hours, we'd love to have you.
There'll be snacks, right, Lauren? Treats, sponsors,
Stuff is there first.
Popcorn.
popcorn, caramel popcorn or just regular popcorn?
Maybe. Popcorn.
What, like homemade? All right, bucket fill.
Hey.
Let's bring in caramel popcorn.
A literal bucket.
3 hours of popcorn.
Got it.
That's
You'll
the
love.
cleaning people come on Tuesdays, they do, so that, we got this. Tuesday's gonna be amazing. All right, Marcus, you're on. Do you want to give us something on this, brother? Look at that smile. That smile was in full force last night.
Is it turned up? Can we hear him?
We should be able to hear. Him. No,
He's still muted.
he's still muted.
Wait for it,
Marcus, give us a teaser.
wait for it.
Is the volume on the TV up?
Oh.
He's probably busy getting hugs from all the people in St.
I
Jude.
lied, I won't even be here.
That's it, it's canceled.
Hold on.
Don't show up on the
And you still
15th.
need
We're
to
not
bring it.
having
You
that.
already promised you're bringing,
You won't like
With
it
or
when
without?
we up the next day. That's the only bad thing.
well, you better come.
I'll
on.
have to come,
Drop it off.
Does that means it's gonna be like hot.
I'll be in, California at Disneyland.
Oh.
Sorry, we're with Ryan. You wanna come?
Yeah.
Okay.
Super excited about this this is always awesome and attended and yeah, this is gonna be amazing. All right, Sean, this is your time to shine, brother.
Okay, so, we, wasn't our best contest, wasn't our most favorite one that we've done, because it was, what? Hard, 75 hard, 75, it was too hard. So we have a lot of people who are in here, as far as the winners, or our participants, if you will. I don't know what else to say about this, other than because of this, I'm more excited for our next fourth quarter contest. So we gotta finish this one up first before we can move into the next. Okay. Steph Phipps. There's a lot of you guys. I don't know how many chances you had.
I had
Two.
pretty much a whole bunch of
You had
them.
more than two.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than two. But there's a lot of,
What? Would you say that's from the 75 hard?
Yeah,
Imagine that if you do hard things, listings come. That's weird.
so
we got the last stuff.
three more that I should have in the next few days.
is the next slide,
Ken, big drum roll. Ken, you gotta get up here.
So Steph, just let me know, that's a 2-night stay at our villa.
Oh.
in St.
Oh, wait, that's the picture.
That's a picture of the pool, the hot tub.
We did Disneyland.
There you go.
Hold on, how many
Right,
people
yeah, that's
sleep
it.
there? But she only has like 4, so
No, like 3 people, so.
7 more besides me can come.
Steph, I've got a taco lazy Susan I'll bring along.
6 more.
Awesome.
Perfect. 6 more.
That's what I won last night. It's amazing. I can warm up the meat and I put all the fixins on the side. Fixins.
Thought you were saying she's a Mexican lady named. She doesn't work very hard.
That's another story that's not appropriate.
Okay, okay, so, I'm super excited. Can we have that next slide? Okay, so I need someone tall, 2 people that are tall.
I got you.
Oh, I can just pull it?
Well, you gotta lift it up, Lauren said.
Let's see.
No,
I don't want to break anything. All right. We're, since it's football season, right? Our fourth quarter, yeah, that's why we're the refs, because we're the brokers, right? We're the keeping you guys in control. You said you forgot your flag.
I forgot my flag.
My dog pulled mine off the counter that night. Okay, so for our fourth quarter, which starts when?
Today.
What? Today's already fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get a 3-yard gain for attending team meeting. Now, here's what's key is on time. Okay, on time, and it has to be in person. Okay, this is you, so we check in and check out everyone who comes to every one of our classes. I don't know if you guys knew that. So you gotta be here on time and you gotta come to team meeting, you get 3 yards. And decorating helmets. So if you decorate your helmet, you get an additional 3 yards. So really, you guys that are here can have 6 yards. Boom, you're heading down, you're heading down. 5-yard gains, listing appointments, and buyer consultations. Okay, that's on your honor. Tech audit, what's a tech audit?
To meet with someone.
That doesn't mean you're calling AT&T or the Apple store. Right? You're setting an appointment with who? Not with Sean or Ken, because we're not your tech people.
No.
So with Bradley or Lauren, So you go through your tech audit. Is that hard and painful? Who's done one? Some of you reached your hands up. Okay, so it's not hard, it's not painful. How long does it typically take?
Oh, it depends.
So,
Me and Colin spent 2 hours yesterday, but we set up a pretty cool system. But sometimes it's 30 minutes.
yeah, so the idea is to figure out what holes you're missing in your business, right, with our technology that we have. So going through a tech audit, complete the full agent, the full fee agent, which is what we're gonna cover today.
Finished?
Well, it doesn't matter if you finish it today or you have finished it, but you have to give a takeaway from the book.
So there's a football that you are gonna write your takeaway on. We're gonna put those footballs around the football. field.
Yep.
So that's how you get your point is by completing. your
Yep, you
takeaway.
complete this and we're gonna hang these around the football field. Okay,
You need markers. Do you want me to go get my markers?
There's
Yes.
Colored pencils and stuff.
okay,
How many points do we get for each water boy reference?
plenty, probably,
Plenty? Okay.
plenty, but we haven't established yardage yet. I'll work on that.
Okay.
Okay, so, Unity loan application, you give, where'd Tommy go? Tommy, he was here a second ago. So if you give Unity, a loan application, right, they don't have to get qualified, you just passing them on a referral, he gets it, that's a 5-yard gain, 10 yards. You take a listing, or you get a buyer agency signed, or either of those go under contract, right? So let's say you take a listing, goes under contract, you get 20 yards. You guys are catching on quick, right? So you graduate Ignite. What days do we do Ignite? Okay. If you graduate Ignite, which right up here, if you, sorry, one of them was supposed to be, if you attend a class
What if you teach
on
it?
time. So there, that is gonna be added in there, because
Okay.
I thought it was there. Sorry, I didn't put this very well. So, if you attend a class on time and it's documented, but it's in person, you get, which if you go to all the Ignites, you're gonna get yardage for that, and you graduate, you get the 10 yards. Okay, 200 plus contacts that these guys have checked you off that you have that, you get yardage for that. Your smart plan, that you initiate a smart plan. What do we have coming up in the next few weeks? Pumpkin patch. Does everyone have their smart plan going for that? See, this is easy stuff, right? This is easy
We're
stuff.
feeding you.
100% feeding you. That's why
Like
we're
Tom
making
Brady
this.
handing the ball off, just feeding you the rock.
So the 75 hard was hard, and we're trying to make this so easy that everyone's getting yardage, okay? Cookies with Santa participation. When is that coming up? Oh, so we got plenty of time. Yeah, which then you can do a smart plan after you get your tech audit.
Guys are just.
Do you guys see that? You guys, everyone, there's no reason you can't get yardage. Okay? Walkathon participation. Who was there yesterday? Yardage. Unity closing. That's a big one. Power Day participation. What's Power Day?
Alice.
Where is Alice? Oh, Allison's up front with someone. Okay, so you participate, the coaching does a Power Day where they do a whole ton of contacts in one day. And that's what that is. You participate in that, you're gonna get yardage. And a 30-yard game, which is a big game, that is for getting $1 million a month. That is a
Huge.
pretty cool thing, right? So your first touchdown, we're gonna give KW mugs and gift cards. Second, we're gonna do t-shirts. Third is gonna be lunch with leadership. Fourth is a custom website. Tell us about that, Bradley. What's a custom website?
Well, it's pretty much whatever you want. You just have to tell me and Lauren, and we're gonna build it for you.
Bam!
Wow.
How many of you guys have custom websites built? How many have like this little mediocre crappy one like mine? Like mine is, yeah, Lauren looked at it and she goes, what? She's like mocking me. Yeah, so I need to get some touchdowns so I can get mine fixed and created and all the bells and whistles on it.
In Canva and host your Canva pages in Command now. So you can make it really fancy
You
and
can make it look a
Kinda
little
make
less
it-
canned.
yeah, exactly. Make it.
There
look
are
however
so
you
many
want.
cool add-ons to what you could do from what we in the past.
Right.
So it's super exciting and thank you guys for volunteering to build those for people. And they said we would love to build these for every single person. Now, here's the cool part is everyone's gonna get yardage at their own pace. It's not a race. You're right. Who do you compete against?
Everyone else.
Yourself. The idea is to make the habits of coming to this stuff, getting involved, that you get yardage and touchdowns. Okay, everyone got a helmet?
So you're gonna
Anyone
put
not
your
have it?
helmet, put it here in the infield, and then start your journey. Once you get down to the other infield, you score your touchdown, then it just resets. Come back here and you go again.
And me and Ken had these in our wardrobe already. We didn't special order them or anything.
You actually believe that?
Big hand for Ken and Sean putting this together and Bradley and Lauren with this. I love it.
And
This is one of my more exciting contests that we've done.
You guys okay if I shed this? It's a little bit warm.
Yeah.
Cause we're about to get into the full fee agent. And we're gonna get into tactical empathy and all the fun stuff. Did you guys take your vitamins today? It's the fourth quarter. Vitamins and stretches. You guys do your stretches today? I'm so excited for this. How many of you read this book?
Listen to it.
You listened to it. All right. What was one thing that stood out before we even go down this road? That was like an aha. And it's okay, you won't ruin anything. What?
I felt like it was written with my name across the top. Shauna, this is you.
Shauna, get your shiz together. This is you. Is that what you mean? In that sense? Okay, because it's already together.
This is how I've always approached my business.
Wow.
So,
So you pretty much wrote this.
yeah, well,
I like it.
it's the
Haley?
same thing.
I just changed my name.
Is it when people talk about how good their listing presentations are, like, oh,
You said, oh, what's that?
yeah,
Is there a secret in real estate?
no, treat your people well.
Oh, Justin, sorry, Justin, you had your hand up. And sorry, go on, please.
Mine was stop selling like a Girl Scout. They talk about going, like, we've been taught years and years, go for yes and have a pattern of yeses.
Yeah.
And then he's like, do you ever notice that it's like buying from a Girl Scout and then when they leave, you're like, I didn't want all of this.
The momentum selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the book says, go for no, because then they will actually tell you what their true, like, they'll either correct you or they'll tell you what they meant. And they won't feel like, you sold them something they didn't want.
Okay, I like it. Anyone else? Kayla, go on.
Just to ask from the beginning, basically, like, hey, do I have to respond to this or not? Like, obviously, there's a tactful way of asking that, but not to waste your time. It's super cool. And the part of like, these are the reasons that you might not want to hire me. And then you go into that and boundaries. I've never had boundaries and now it's stuck with having a family and whatnot. And so I'm learning how to do that. I just thought it was really cool that, like, hey, if you don't respect my boundaries, like, it's okay to walk away.
Because one bad client
Yeah,
takes up the space of like two great ones, right?
Yeah. 1,000,000%.
12.
Yeah.
Dalton has the kind of business where 12 is much
And
easier
it's
than
the
one.
energy thing too. You have good deals, you're like, oh, hell yeah, I can do 10 more at the same time, but if they're shitty, you're just so drained from it too.
I mean, I just lived exactly that, so.
Just like the premise of the favorite of the fool in the book that, like, there's been times that I thought that I would get the deal. And I'm like, Tim, why in the hell did you not sign with me? And I like beat myself up when they were never gonna list with me anyway.
Ooh, that's a good point to put in there. Like, is our inside world affected by the outside world? Why?
Because we care what other people think.
Because you care what people think, but you're also on this chase, convince, close, chase, convince, close. And if you get 10 million this year, then your inside world will be peaceful. Is that true?
So we tell ourselves.
That's what we tell ourselves. That's the vicious cycle. This is like this. That's that doom loop that we're always in. Chase, convince, close, chase, convince, close. My question is, what's the difference between empathy and sympathy? This is a good one.
Empathy is understanding and sympathy is
Matching. What if, I like that. What else? Yeah, Nick.
Sympathy might be agreeing with it, while empathy is just recognizing it. Like, you know, I recognize that you might not think an agent's worth it. You're wrong. But you can still, you know.
Do you know why I love this book so much? I get it's tailored to real estate, but could you see implementing tactical empathy in your relationships?
Oh, yeah.
Friends, significant other, family, kids, parents, extended family, whatever that is. So what if we put in sympathy, what if I added the term ego? Because what do you do with sympathy? Sympathy comes back to you, right? Whereas empathy is understanding but not necessarily agreeing with the other person, right? A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the communication 101. What were the 3 levels of communication? You guys remember? Verbal,
Non-verbal.
nonverbal, and the big one, metaverbal. Right? What's the difference? This is what you say. What's nonverbal? Body language. What's metaverbal? How you say it. It's not what you said, it's how you said it. So when you take into consideration, when you read this book, understanding this makes you that much more efficient. What is your biggest value as a real estate agent? Like we always talk about, dive deep into your value proposition. What is the most important value you have as a real estate agent?
I think it depends on the client.
I think it depends on the agent.
What do you think that should be unified with everyone?
Honesty.
I'm curious. I just want to know what you guys think. Can I say what I think it is? Trust. How do you develop trust?
Empathy.
Empathy, right? Well, we're gonna get into that today. So how do we do that? How do we develop trust? Empathy, what else?
Well, empathy is the basis of trust, I believe, because if people don't believe that you care about their feelings, then trust has no basis. You know, if you just dismiss somebody's feelings, you know, my favorite expression of somebody's telling me their plight is, if I were you, I'd feel exactly the same way. That doesn't mean I do feel the way you feel, but if I were you, and I had that happen to me, I would feel the same way. That's showing empathy.
Yeah.
Rather than just dismissing it. You've got to convey that you understand their feeling. Matter of fact, Webster says that empathy is the ability to understand and to share feelings with one another. Well, to understand and to share.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you agree, but you understand how they feel.
How many of you tried to hire someone? Is it the most challenging thing ever? If you can embrace empathy and not necessarily agreeing, but be able to understand the emotion without responding, is huge. I think in Dale Carnegie's book, right, How to Win Friends and Influence People, he talks about you must first seek to what? Understand and then be understood. I will take it one level further, that they have to believe that you understand. And that's my definition of trust. I think that's the most important value that you have as an agent. They have to believe that you actually understand, that you don't just hear them, but you understand that. What is the percentage? We talked about this before. What percentage of sales is based on emotion? All of it. 100% is based on emotion. You buy based on how you feel. Why?
Come up with the logics justify the feeling.
So buying a house, would you say that's probably it might be the biggest investment that any of your clients ever make their whole life, is buying a house. That emotion is so powerful. So let's dive into this. Tactical empathy, this is the definition: the art of influencing others by articulating what they're thinking and feeling without necessarily agreeing, disagreeing, or sympathizing. What's interesting is, if 100% of this is based on emotion, can you convince someone's emotion based on fact, logic, and reason? Not at all. Fact, logic, and reason is completely thrown out the window with anything to do with emotions. So the whole idea and the premise of building a relationship is finding that emotional connection, right? Whether that's a relationship, real estate, business, sales, whatever you're in, it's developing. Building trust is better than explaining value. Why would we say this? You're always about your value proposition. What value do you provide? You can talk till you're blue in the face about your value, your fact, your logic, and reason. If you're not building that trust, it completely changes. So how you do business is more important than how much business you do. So the first thing the book gets into is ignore human nature at your peril. This is an amazing talent to see and understand before you go and sit down with anybody, is understanding the human nature. And these are the 7 things that we break down into. 1, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. How many of you guys spend time understanding what your clients did on their previous transaction? How do you go about doing that?
Just ask them what they love. Like, I'm setting, like, hey, you brought a house, you sold a house. How did that go? What were your favorite things about the agent? What did go well with that agent?
Right. And what do you do with that information?
Kind of tailor the conversation based on those, because if they are more caring, like for photos, for example, I had a seller that the agent took cell phone pictures and he was really concerned about, he even questioned that he missed the master bathroom that he redid and they weren't on the listing photos, so he was super like worried about that. And I'm like, oh, that's good, like they're professional. And I kind of like made a joke that, yeah, my phone is really good, but they have the actual technology and I'm gonna hire that out.
Love that. Anyone else? Understanding past behavior, right? Because we're the creature of habit. Yeah, Dalton.
I evaluate my own self against their expectations as to whether or not I'm gonna be a good fit for them. They want to go see 50 houses. I'm not a good fit for them. Like, as an example.
I love the idea of asking the question, why did you reach out to me? Right? And then understanding what they used in the past, right? But understanding their past behavior, because we're just a creature of habit, it's going to go over and over again. Second one, no such thing as an open mind. How many times is your buyer already has an idea, he or she in their mind, what they want? They don't care about your fact, logic, and reason. They already have this idea. Like, they will come to you with what exactly they want. And it's your job, your fiduciary duty to understand that and know that and they believe that you understand. 3, humans are hardwired to be negative. This is an amazing understanding, even in our own personal lives. So there was a study that it references in the book that was done on an fMRI. You guys know what an fMRI is? It's called a functional MRI. So when you go into the MRI machine, they keep you awake and they ask you a series of questions. The amygdala in the brain, 70% of it is hardwired to just go negative all the time. So how many times does something bad happen? Where do you go? Do you just keep going down the spiral, down the road? You keep just following the exhaustion of it. In the study, they said that these people, when they give them a negative emotion or a negative thought, their brain just functions crazy and they continue to go down this spiral. One of the ways that it talks about to eliminate that negative thought process is labeling. How many of you guys have heard of labeling? Give me your idea of labeling, please. And tell me your name.
I'm Diana.
Diana, sorry. Give me your definition of labeling.
So just telling someone that they are something and then they begin to believe it or other people believe it.
Right. Exactly. So if there's a negative emotion that comes to you, whether you're losing the sale or the listing presentation didn't go as well, how can you label that to control your own negative emotions? I like to use a little simple term, red and blue. Red is like devastating, negative, awful. So if that emotion comes, I immediately go, okay, that's a red. And then when something positive comes into my life, I label it as a blue. It gets you in the habit of working with your mind to train the mind. I love the phrase mental fitness rather than mental health, because it is a fitness. You have to work that. And if you can label the negative emotions that come to you and help your clients understand that and label that emotion, maybe not red, but put it under a different emotion. And when something positive comes up, label that as a positive emotion. When you get your brain working in that way, you'll be amazed at how quick that you can overcome such negative thoughts. Any other ahas on that you think about with this being negative? One of the reason why I love Tony Robbins. How many of you guys? Oh, sorry, Christy, please.
Giving yourself permission to be okay being in that negative space for so long. And okay, I'm feeling this way, and I'm going to give myself X amount of hours, or X amount of minutes, or X amount of days to process this. And this is the outcome I'm looking for. But I need to sit in the feeling for a moment because I'm going to learn more by sitting in this of why this is happening right now. and then tell yourself, okay, I give myself, like, you're setting an internal clock in your brain, like, I give myself 3 minutes to do it, or 3 days to do it. At the end of that, 2 or 3 days, this is the outcome, so I'm gonna feel as I practice that, and this is the next step I'm gonna do. So I'm not tired.
I love that. And that's a trauma deep dive that Chrissy just went on. Is being able to sit with the awful emotion and let it work through you is not easy. That's next week's meeting, and we'll just do it in my office one-on-one, so everybody can cry. We can all cry together. It'd be amazing. What's that? Yes, I love it. The reason why I love Tony Robbins is his mindset and ability to mentally train himself, but he doesn't exercise specifically with these negative emotions. He wants you to think about your dream life, what you want, which I may be jumping a little ahead, which is, sorry, the fear of loss is a primary motivator of human beings. So Tony Robbins does this exercise where you think of this dream life, what it looks like, the house, the cars, the family, whatever that is. And he trains your mind to think that if you don't do these things, you will not achieve that. So the fear of loss is way more powerful than victory. So the analogy is, if you lose $10 to match that emotion, you have to win 20. You have to win 10 more dollars than you lost. You have to win double than what you lost in order to match that emotional level. Isn't that crazy to think about? That our emotional equivalence to losing $10 is gaining 20. This is exactly what your clients think about. You have to help them understand that their inaction is considered a loss, right? They have to see and understand that if they don't act, if they don't go with your advisement, that they're going to lose something that's crucial. So the idea of loss is a way more powerful emotion than actually winning something. Compromise is never equal.
Even if it's a taco lazy season, I just wanna make sure that.
Well,
Just saying.
I mean,
Powerful.
infinity plus negative a million is still an infinity. And a taco lazy Susan is pretty much an infinity. So I'll never sing because I have a taco lazy Susan, which I really am excited about. That's the funny thing. Compromise is never equal. I know we believe in this win-win or no deal, but when you come to a compromise, does everyone leave happy? That was a big aha, right? I think
Nobody was happy.
well, it gives the analogy from Chris Voss's other book, Never Split the Difference. Like if you want to wear a black shoe and a brown shoe, right? Justin, you brought this up at our book exchange. You can't wear black and brown. It just doesn't work. Someone always leaves away unhappy. Is that the worst thing in your business for someone to leave unhappy, especially if you're based on a referral? So understanding that compromise is never equal. I know we believe in win-win or no deal, but it never gets to that equal phase. Next, people will die over autonomy. What is autonomy?
So. You know, decision.
Right? They have to be in control, right? If you gain anything out of this book is you have to detach from the outcome. I know as real estate agents, you promise to provide this end result. You have to detach from that outcome. It is not in your control. It's in the client's control. Their decision-making, they are going to stick with their autonomy. They have to feel like they're in control because anytime you persuade, reason, fact, logic, it will affect their emotions and it will completely change the relationship. Vision drives decision. What do we mean by vision drives decision? Yeah, you help them paint the picture. But the analogy that talks about in the book is you're on the right side of the street and you see your client on the other side of the street and there's some major danger in front of them. What do you want to do? Yell, right? Hey, get over here. It's on this side. Get on this side. What are you doing? You're taking away their what? Their view, their autonomy, their ability to choose. And so what do you do in that instance to help them see that? Right, you go up, you go across the street, and one of the cool things is with kids, what happens when you see little kids all the time? You get down on their level, right? When you get down on their level, what does that do? Equal, you see what they see what you see, right? And so if you can cross the street and help them see the vision and advise what's going on and then allow them to make that choice, that vision is the most important thing they can do. When people feel understood, they get a hit of oxytocin. What is that? A feel-good feeling, because when you help them see a vision, they know that you are actually listening to them. They believe that you're listening and understanding them. That oxytocin is the most powerful emotion. It's the same feeling that parents and kids have, or a husband and wife, or a significant other, or like that is the kind of power that creates when you help them see that vision. Anyone want to add on that?
I think it's just safe. If you help them feel safe,
Safe.
I feel like that's another word that's gonna, drive your business, is you're getting onto their level. So that gives them a safety.
So, and that's the key to like the best relationships ever.
Yeah.
Safety, trust, right? Love that. The favorite or the fool, which is the
I
next
love
chapter.
that.
This was your favorite chapter?
Yeah.
Why was this your favorite chapter?
Because if you go into the business, like into the listing appointment, and you do all this work, but they already have a best friend. So if me and Justin went and Justin was their best friend, I'm just going to give them information. And so I'm wasting my time
You're going to give them like perspective
for you to do.
for them to say, hey, Justin, can you do it like this?
Yep.
I think the best analogy that I can take from this, being 43 and single and going on dates, it is the worst. It is absolutely awful whatsoever. And the moment you sit down, you can tell how that's going to go, right? How engaged they are. And if it is just you continually having to sell yourself or get anything out of them, how awful is that situation? Right? You're reading what they're saying or what they're not saying. That's always a fun one. Nonverbal, like how their body.
The hardest person to date.
Just took an unexpected turn.
Knowledge. No, hey, 2 seconds before you said,
That sounds like I'm super manipulative in this situation.
no, you're extremely brilliant. That's like,
Tell your friends I'm extremely hard to date. This will be so great for me. This is so great.
I should have paused before I said that, because that sounded really messed up.
No,
I
it's
didn't
great.
mean it that way.
Yeah,
You're just extremely knowledgeable in all of these.
I don't know if it's. I put on a good show. I don't know if it's knowledge.
Well, I think it's good because you're like, no bullshit, like, you're like, yep, this isn't gonna work out, and someone could take that intimidating part.
I think, well, if we're gonna go down this rabbit hole, this is fun. The difference is, like, I'm in a phase where I'm completely honest, like, I don't care. Like,
But
I'm
most people
so,
aren't there, that's why.
for sure.
That was my comment, sorry.
Well, no, and but I'm okay with that. Like, I'm extremely vulnerable. What is the fear of your clients being vulnerable? They lose what? If they're vulnerable with you, what do they lose? Autonomy. They lose control. So getting them vulnerable. So how vulnerable should you be then? I mean, this analogy with dating and clients is actually a great correlation. But that's the thing too, is I always refer to it. It's not what you said, it's how you said it. Like, that is a big thing. It is exhausting to sit there and go, I've got to be here for another hour and just no engagement. There's no interest. I'm fun, amazing. I'm not as tall as they probably wanted, but hey, like, but the idea is like, how exhausting, how much do you spin your wheels trying to convince someone to do it? And then if you do get that listing and they were a pain in the ass, what happens?
It becomes a pain in the ass.
Right? It's exhausting and they will expect everything. I've learned this lesson big time in investments. We used to raise capital for companies. And the people that saw the vision and brought in millions of dollars, they were the best. It was the person that only wanted to invest $25,000 or $30,000 that wanted weekly updates, calling every day, what's going on with this, And so your level of understanding where your clients may or may not be is big. Is it okay to walk away? How often do you do that? But in this business of the outside world, controlling our inner peace, that's scary, is it not? Especially if you're brand new getting in the business. So, right, it's not a sin to lose business, it's a sin to take a long time to lose business. I think this idea of you having to continue to pedal and push and create engagement is just, it's never fun. Yeah, if you have to, what is it, sway or convince, they'll have a bad attitude the entire time. Right? All right. The key to building a great business is learning to tell the difference between possibility and probability. This is a big one. Fools chase possibilities to be the favorite. You have to focus on the probabilities. Do you guys know in your SOI who's a probable and who's a possible? How do you engage with those possibles? Just curious.
Half the amount of, and probably, wait, yes.
We have drip campaigns for those possibles, right, Bradley?
Yeah.
They go into the long-term nurture, right?
Ignore.
Ignore. They'll quickly ignore pretty fast. But I think the quicker you can understand if you're the favorite or the fool, and take the date analogy with that. If you can read their body language, what's a red flag that they'll ask you if you're not the favorite? Because you want to get them engaged. What's one thing they'll say that it's like it's a red flag? Short answers, or they're going to say, tell me why I should use you. That is the biggest red flag in any real estate transaction. Spinning it around. I like that, right? Sell me on why I should use you. Like that is a red flag that should stand out, that some questions like that get out there. All right, here are the 5 breakdowns of this. Are they calling me specifically, right? We talked about this. Why would you use me? Why wouldn't you use your previous agent? Understanding that, getting to the why and letting them open up to you. Because if they reach out to you in that way, Christy, when you had that guy from California call you on your vacation, what were some of the questions he asked? Or what were the questions you asked?
I was literally, this is what he said, he's like, well, you're the first agent in 6 I called that's answered their phone, so you must be the one I need to hire.
It was just a done deal.
That was it.
May we all have clients like that.
Amen.
I lived with the same time all the way up until walking through his condo, like I really like.
I love that.
It was the most bizarre. Yeah.
All right, do I fit their profile? How do we understand this? How do we get to the root of this, of fitting their profile? Asking questions, right? The best behavior is the understanding their what? Their best behavior though, right? What they did before and how they're gonna do again. So you have to understand how you fit the profile. Some of the questions that I like that it brings on, right? Why they picked you, right? What do you want in an agent? How will you know you've met the right person? How do you make decisions like this in the past? What guidance are you getting on this decision? That's one of my favorites. Who else is advising them in what they're doing, right? And the last one, how do you see this process unfold? Understanding their vision. Please, John.
She was being shy.
I like the question, I'm curious about the agents, why me? Because everybody knows agents, everybody has family that's agents.
A sister, a mother, a brother, right? That's a great one. That's awesome. Write that down. Kaylee? Oh, you were raising for her.
She was being shy.
She didn't just take a page from Kaylee and just blurt it out. We're good with that. And mostly about me in a negative context. It'll be fantastic. We want engagement, Kaylee. I love it. All right. Can I make the emotional connection? Oh my gosh, this is where it is. This is where the trust comes from. This is where it goes. How can you make an emotional connection?
Facebook. Okay, sorry. Facebook.
Facebook, go on with Facebook emotional connection.
A lot of my business comes from Facebook because I am vulnerable on there and post my family and all that. So then they reach out to me and they feel connected.
Wow. So
I
you're
have a lot of clients that like, they'll apologize about their kids. I'm like, don't worry about it. Like I've got 2 kids at home. I'm like, oh, you do? And that's.
And if your kids are anything like you, it's gonna be a riot. Right? I love that. I love that. Like that's the best way to build connection without even really putting in a lot of effort because they can research and do that. So they Facebook stalk you. Is that what they do?
I don't have to do that. I just.
It's just out there. So another red flag that comes from making this emotional connection is the difference between that's right and you're right. Which one is wrong? You're right. Why is that wrong, Nick?
Trying to get you shut up. They don't agree with anything you're saying. Yeah, you're right. They're not gonna take any action.
And they completely draw back.
If that's right, then they're engaging and they're agreeing and they'll be a call.
So how do you get a that's right instead of a you're right?
Like, what?
Ooh, wow, look at you using my own words against me. So proud of you. That big aha, we got 3 yards for Nick in the back.
Almost there.
Labeling is exactly what you should do. It sounds like,
Looks like,
it seems like, it looks like, you seem, you're probably feeling, that's a big one, feeling. Like if you can label, you seem to be feeling this way. And even if you mislabel, what does it do?
they'll correct it.
They'll correct you and they'll engage with you. If they're willing to engage with you, even on a mislabel, it creates engagement. Your whole goal, we always talk about listings and all these things, your whole goal is creating engagement. The way that you can get to this emotional connection is creating engagement. The other thing that we do, what did you say? Besides labeling?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
What else did I say?
What else
I'm
did
sure
you?
it was inspired.
Brilliant.
Inspiring? Brilliant. What am I doing? What am I doing? Brilliant.
Sounds probably fun. You're
Probably.
correct.
I'm right. I'm mirroring.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
What is mirroring?
Just
This is
repeating
one of
back to us.
this is one of the biggest nonverbal and verbal things that you can do in your communication is mirroring. Sometimes when you see people, if they go like this, most people will copy that, right? But if you can mirror with words, you read back to them the last few words or the last few statements that they said. That's one of the best ways to create that connection.
Show you're listening.
Yeah,
It invites them to keep talking.
right. The more they talk and the less you do.
If you can get them just those last couple words are the most important words. So especially if you're that's right. Hey, it sounds like maybe you have some concerns about this. Well, I don't have any concerns about that. I have concerns about it. Oh, you have concerns about the photos. Yeah, I have concerns about the photos. Okay, what's concerning about the photos? Oh, the last guy didn't do it right. Oh, the last guy didn't do it right? Oh, and then you get and you're
They
like,
open up.
oh,
The bathroom wasn't included. It was remodeled.
and then you follow it up with like.
Our pets' heads were falling off.
Sounds like it's really important that we have awesome photos for you. Yeah, that's right. Fantastic. That's what we do. There you go.
Boom. Look at that. Just interchanging, labeling and mirroring. It's a huge talent to add to your arsenal. If you can label and mirror. And what's that?
Power pause. I was just
You're
reliving.
jumping ahead, Kaylee. Stop bringing up things in the future. No, the power pause. This is the biggest. Why?
Don't get distracted, stay the course.
We're so focused on like no dead silence. Dead silence is the best thing because it means what? They're contemplating whether they're going on a second date with me, right? That's what they're thinking. So this silence isn't necessarily awkward. Stay positive. That's one thing I got going for me. I'll never be negative, always be positive. One of the biggest things that I think as agents is we often, well, I say we as agents, you as agents, me as just a precious dateable soul, is we say I instead of you. It's never about you. You have to remove your agenda. You have to remove anything you want out of this, your outcome, anything has to be out of that. And you have to change that to you. Remove I from all of your vocabulary. It's always you. Tactical empathy, they want to understand unless they feel. They will not understand what you're trying to say unless they feel like they're understood. Does that make sense? They have to believe that you understand them, or they're never going to want to understand anything that you're saying. Is the conversation collaborative? What does this mean? Yeah,
I was
Kaylee,
just gonna say your script when you're calling to recruit. Like you're making them understand that you know how they feel about those calls.
it sucks
You call it out.
getting a call. You probably hate me. You probably get these all the time. You probably are super frustrated. That creates engagement, which we'll get into the art of saying no. Okay, I'll leave that. What was that? Someone have something?
Keep going.
No, Nick, go
There's no
on.
word for that. It's the accusation audit. You probably think I'm just a money grabber. You think I'm just a cold-hearted real estate agent that's here to take every penny from the township. Wow, of course. And even if they do, a little
You had a
bit,
hard time with the no
With
chapter?
that chapter.
Because you just
with
love
the
yes.
accusation audit,
You're just chasing yes
I
everywhere you
just feel
go.
like that's negative.
but it lowers this. If you stay what they're thinking,
Build rapport.
it brings it into like.
Well, you don't even
they-
have to agree with it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the hardest.
What's another red flag in collaboration? If they refer to you as the expert, why is that a red flag? Why being the expert is a red flag for the client, right? And if we put the outcome of the transaction completely on us, how happy are we? Awful, miserable. If we base any of our emotion on the outcome, we are miserable. Like the quickest way to hell is taking responsibility for everything, including the outcome, right? So the collaboration, the specific is don't be referred to as the expert. And one of the other things that was interesting, they aren't afraid to share info with you because you're not the expert, you're an advisor. That what matters is their emotion, their vision, what they see, how they see this process. All right. Are they opposed to make a commitment up front? Now, we kind of have some help with this with some recent government situations like NAR, right? We have some help with this where are we the favor of the fool? We can't we can't take a buyer to do something because why? We can't show them a house because why? So we have help with this last bit here, right? Is the NAR. Free consulting is going to kill your business. If you're giving up so much value for free, they're never going to come back to you. Nick.
I'm talking a lot, I'll be quiet.
No, please.
Sometimes
3 more yards.
I think
You get
that-
3 yards. I'm Oprah. You get 3 yards and you get 3 yards.
Everyone gets 3 yards. But sometimes if they're hesitant to make a commitment, there's a question that we haven't gone over. So
Yeah.
like, hey, that's a great thing. Hey, here's my buyer presentation. Here's this. I'm gonna run it out for this. You know, let's sign this today. Oh, I'm not sure about today. Okay. You're not sure about today. No. Sounds like you don't want to commit, or it sounds like you've been burned before, or you label it so that then they will tell you, oh, I just don't know if we're, and I've done that where they're, you know, super hesitant, and all of a sudden I find out, oh, we filed a bankruptcy 2 years ago. I don't know if we can. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, maybe we don't even need to go down this road. Like, and then it just opens up a whole nother, so that you have better information to help them as you're going instead of just going for the yes, and then you have garbage transactions, you don't know why, and it's, the foundation was never built. You were just pushing for signature.
Awesome. Labeling, mirroring.
I will-
Those
I
two
will-
things in a cycle is the best
Go
way to
off
go.
on that all, that book. is
Go off
like-
on labeling.
I like, never split the difference and the stuff in there, and we talked about book club, but one of the most influential books I've ever read as far as like
Never split the difference.
how to communicate questions. Yeah, great.
Love it. Anything you want to add? It's okay to walk away. How many of you guys have walked away? Do you have who has the best story of walking away? Dalton had a gun pulled on him and he's like, I'm out of here.
Oh, no.
I want to know this
That's
because
not how that would
I
end,
want to
but
know this
yeah.
because I've never got up and walked away on a date. I would learn to like to do that.
Do it.
Really?
Do it next time just to like,
I mean,
How
I
it
can teach you.
The student has become the teacher in this.
That's about dating. I got you.
He's the master. He's the master.
I've been out of that field too long, but yes.
3 more weeks, we're just gonna go on dating. This will be fantastic. Dalton, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. The point at which a buyer wanted me to call like 20 or 30 listing agents a day with no real specificity on the home. They were stuck between hunting for a home and hunting for an assumable rate. And they wanted, they're like, we'll just call these homes at all these listing agents and see if their people would take an assumable loan or would assume their loan to us. And I just was like, that's a lot of work. I'd love to do that for you. I honestly just don't have the time. And they got real upset. I was like, I just don't think we're gonna work out real well together. And I said, so do you want me to try and find an agent who's willing to do that? And they're like, no, we can do it. I said, great, see it.
Wow, look at you protecting your what? Your peace. Your inner world.
Yeah.
You should have said that as the last statement. You're freaking nuts. All right, I think it's amazing. I think when you have the inner peace and the ability, yeah, Ken.
So I was at the listing appointment 2 years ago. I met with, the guy was being a real driver and he was about $50,000 or $60,000 overpriced. And I said to him, hey, I'll list your property, what you'd like for it. You can see my CMA. Doesn't say that it has that value, but I'll list it for that amount. But if we don't have an offer in 10 days, then I'm gonna expect that you do a $30,000 price reduction. And the guy goes, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna agree to anything up front. I shut my books and I said, I guess we don't have any common ground to do business together. I said, I sell properties, I don't list properties. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me, and I got up and I started to walk out. And he goes, where are you going? And I said, I'm not gonna do business with someone who isn't gonna have a team mentality and work with me on selling the property. I'm giving you what you want for 10 days, but in exchange for that, I want you to agree to a price reduction. And so I still continue to get up, and I started walking to the door, and he goes, wait a minute, come on back, let's sit down and talk.
Look at that. That's what we call the takeaway in the sales world.
I ended up listing the property, we ended up selling it, we started at his price, but in 20 days, we we're at my price, so.
Nailing that last impression. That's
Don't be
huge.
afraid. And the thing is that he was such a driver, I had to get his respect. And the respect is that I'm not gonna compromise my business principles and who I am. You know, I'm gonna give you what you want, but in exchange, I want you to give me what.
Love that. And how quickly will that person refer you, knowing that you set up your boundaries?
Oh my gosh.
People, when you honor someone's boundaries, human nature is to reciprocate. And when they see that you have that and they see your value like that, knowing you're so valuable that you're not willing to waste your time or their time is a huge win.
He went from being an a-hole driver to being amiable.
Easy language.
In like 20, and referred me 4 or 5 deals.
Awesome. Love that. And that's where most referrals come, when they have that kind of lasting impression, when they see the value in which, knowing that you are the expert. No, not the expert, sorry. That you are the best advisor and will help them see the vision.
Well, his comment to me was, I could see how passionate you were about your business. I could see how hard you fought your business. I knew you would fight that hard for me. I want that person fighting.
Wow. Did you end in an embrace after that statement?
And she,
A tear would have been falling down my cheek. Let's hug this out. Bro hug. I like that.
we have to the
That's the best. No more free consulting. Your only real value is the trust you build with a client. What do we mean by no more free consulting?
Buyer broker sign.
Don't be the fool.
Don't be the fool,
Pumping you for information.
right? You can quickly discern how that goes. What are some ideas before you sit down with a buyer consult or listing agreement to maybe preface this? I know Christy gave some great ideas before that she sends a pre-listing presentation questionnaire, right? So to speak. What else do you guys do along those lines? Steph?
I just asked, have you already met with any other agents, or who are you planning on meeting with? And I actually just won my last one. So
Love it.
found out who it was. I'm like, they're a really good friend of mine. I love them to death. And so, yeah.
What else? Anyone
They
do any?
flashed their tires, so they couldn't make the appointment.
No, she went right before me. She went right before me, and I was like, oh, okay. So I thought, well.
And then you just berated her after the fact. She's awful.
I kept talking how great she was, so it was good.
So the idea, if you want good habits of how to listen, some ideas that I think about when no more free consulting is before I meet with somebody, if it's an important meeting, like one of the coolest things, when I was in Los Angeles, we had a commercial brokerage that specialized in multifamily. And they wanted, we were working on getting them to join Keller Williams. There were about 80 commercial agents that really specialize in multifamily. And we took the 2 owners to MegaCamp. You guys, who's been to MegaCamp? One of the coolest things that I gained out of that, we had sit downs with Gary, we had to sit down with Jason Abrams, we had to sit down with Mark King. But one of the coolest things that I saw was we had to sit down with Mark Willis. You guys know who Mark Willis is? He's now back as the president. He was the president years ago. Now back as that. Mark Willis had prepared everything he knew about Anthony Walker and Buckingham Investments, their brokerage. And he wrote down all of their victories. He wrote down all of their transactions, the details of his website. Mark Willis came so prepared to that. But one of the cool things that I saw is he engaged with Anthony on a level that he could see his emotion with the struggling market in multifamily, because multifamily was extremely hard. And so Mark Willis gave me this idea. When you go and meet with a client, write down the things you think they're thinking about or feeling. Like, if you really want to be able to listen on a high level, if you really want to engage with people and connect with people before you sit down with them, and maybe this is already through the process, maybe they've already listened with you, but write down the things you think they may be thinking about or feeling. Because when you do that, what do you gain? You get an idea of their vision, you get an idea of what they may be feeling. Now, again, it's empathy. You're not going to feel that, but you want to understand what they're feeling. This can be a really hard process for a lot of people. Again, it's their biggest investment they've probably ever made. So writing down the things that they may be thinking or feeling is a huge win for you to be able to connect with them on a different level. The way you listen is much more important than what you say. Right? Labeling, mirroring. What are other ways that you can prove that you're listening? Note taking, right? What if you see some body language that they're trepid about, or that they feel uncomfortable? Call it out. How?
Hey, I noticed that you just leaned back. Tell me more about that.
It seems like you're really hesitant about what we're talking about here. It seems that you look like you feel like this is not a good idea, right? And what's usually their response to something like that?
No.
It's usually a no, and we'll get more into that with like the art of that. But when they see that you're understanding their body language, how they say things, what they're saying, and you acknowledge that, and you try to label it specifically with that, it immediately creates more connection. If you're the one that's explaining, you're losing. Why? Yes, if you're explaining, you're losing. Ronald Reagan, one of the great quotes. You can't win over emotion with fact, logic, and reason. If you're trying to convince, sway, or explain, like mansplaining, Justin is always mansplaining all the time. And nobody's really listening. There's just no connection. It's a good thing we already have a connection. Proud of you. The idea of helping them change their mind. How do we do that?
Leaving the different.
Asking great questions.
Asking great questions. Expand on that, Keely.
Most people only see something one way, and so being open-minded, you can show them, but to kind of carve it through their mind.
They have to ultimately make the decision, right? What the term I think they use in the book is bend their reality. I think bend their reality.
I think walking down the street with them.
Right?
Okay, if we do this, what do you think's gonna happen? If we price your home overpriced, 30,000 overpriced, what do you think the most like, how do you see that going? What kind of offers do you think we're gonna get?
Okay. Help them come up with the idea that you're advising to, right? Bend their reality. Let them see alternate universes. Let them see that. Yeah, please.
I just remember one time being at the lender, that, we were shot down and he turned around and said the same thing again. What do you do it? He just told us no. He did it again, his objection. It was 3 times that he said the same thing, the same exact thing. He turned around, which surprised me. I didn't expect that.
Using repetition, saying the same thing over and over again. Because it didn't stick the first time. It doesn't work with my kids, but I love the analogy. I think no, I agree with that. Maybe they don't conceptualize it. Maybe they don't see it. Anyone else want to add to that? The thing about trust that I think is the most important thing, it doesn't necessarily give you more time and money. Trust. But it brings you what? Peace of mind, more joy, right? I think the biggest important thing in our life is the quality of relationships that we have. And this can be a super amazing experience for you and your client. Anyone else want to add on that? All right. We kind of covered this. Listen for real. One of the things that stands out, you make mental space for the other person. That's why eliminate I. It's never I, it's you. You have to make mental space. You have to see things as they see them. You have to understand how they feel about certain things. That's the best way that you can build trust. Focus your complete attention on them. It's not enough just to look at them. Another great habit of listening is when you're looking at them, sometimes where does your mind go?
How to answer.
Where's my response? How am I gonna respond to this? Again, silence, right? Letting the silence sit in and letting them, and let your mind think. That's why referring back to the things you wrote down that they may be thinking or feeling are so important. But try to understand what they're thinking and feeling when they're talking. Forget about convincing anybody of your value or anything else for that matter. The only thing you need to do is build a trusting relationship. And the only way to do that is detach from the outcome. Let go of your feelings and desires. Focus on making them feel truly understood, and everything else will be fall into place. Your primary job as a real estate agent is to cultivate relationships. How many of you do a 411? Like I am hardcore 411. One of my personal goals is have no agenda with my kids. Like no agenda.
What does that mean?
I'm not trying to convince them of anything. I don't want to direct them where to go. Just have no agenda and be present. How many times when you're in a presentation, you are focused on the agenda? Can you let go of the agenda and just be there? Like let the relationship happen. Have no agenda. Let go of the outcome, right? You want to chase, convince, close, chase, convince, close. Let go of the outcome and have no agenda and just be present. Being present it's a hard tactic to implement. Get the elephants out early. The reason someone might not want to do business with you is more important than the reason they do. Why would this statement be so powerful? Why is it more important to understand why someone doesn't want to do business?
Well, are you the bull or are you the favorite?
I think it flushes it out.
Mhm.
Like, I think it flushes out. That you're either the full or the favorite, flushes out the reason that's holding them back. But, well, maybe there's a misunderstanding. If you say like, man, I want to do business with you because you're short.
I can't fix that. Yeah,
And then I want to tolerate. So
it speeds up the process of wasting your time, right? Losing a deal is not a big deal. Losing your time. Yes.
I was thinking that the reason they don't want to do business might be creating so much pain that the positive reasons don't, just like the losing 10, gaining 20. The fear or the people avoid pain more so than they will try to gain pleasure.
Right.
So the pain is just supersedes the positive. So you need to have created as many positives you can and even write them down and have them write them down. That's what transact. That's why I think that
Love that, right? Yeah, 90% of people move away from pain and only 10% move towards something positive. But again, we're trying to create an emotional connection, right? Understanding why they may not use you allows you to use all the tools to create emotional connection with them and understand why. Yeah.
I think when someone tells you what they're not good at and owns it, it increases the trust exponentially.
Be vulnerable.
Because now it's, when people don't ever paint themselves in a bad light. So if you can say honestly and authentically, hey, listen, this is some reasons why you might not want to, like it just drops all pretense of the conversation. It adds a lot of depth and trust to both sides, I think.
Yeah. Love it. Again, getting the elephants out early. These are addressing major issues that may happen with your transgression. I see where my mind is at right now. Your transaction, right? You've all heard the saying, the cover up is worse than the crime. Why is that?
Because you have to remember the cover up over and over and over and
Over and again, and the lie changes and expands and grows and everything else. Like waiting, getting in front of things. It's always better to get in front of things, right? This is all based on emotion. There's no logic. There's no fact. There's no reason. We're basing this on emotions when problems come up, when they arise. We want to tailor the emotion. So we want to preface this and be able to understand this on a higher level. So getting in front of this early, something bad. Give me an example of something that really bad that happened in one of your transactions.
Appraisal.
What?
Appraisal was too low.
The appraisal was too low. Okay, so if we want to wait on this or get in front of this, how soon do you communicate that with your clients? Right away, right? So let's preface this. Let's get into this. The why not. The reasons sometimes might not want to do business with you are more important. Sugarcoating and bracing. What's the difference between sugarcoating and bracing? So the example, the appraisal came low. What is sugarcoating that,
Not
right? So how can we say this direct while tying to their emotions?
okay, I have.
Yes, we
You're not-
preface
You're
this.
not gonna like this.
You're gonna hate me. You're gonna be so frustrated with me. It's just awful, right? Like when you paint this picture and make it, go ahead.
Yeah, he talked about it in the book, like making it like way worse than it is. Then they're like, no, I wouldn't be the worst agent. You know, like he's like, you probably think I have no idea what I'm doing. When this appraisal comes in low and we price to the risk. You know, and they're like, no. And then when you actually tell them, it's like their expectation of what you're gonna say is down here.
They're thinking the worst.
Because we're getting an emotional response. It's not what you say, right? It's not what you said to somebody, it's how you made them feel, right? Laugh or cry or whatever that is, right? And so you want them to feel something. This is them, you're tapping into the emotion, which is the most powerful. So prepping for possible problems, ironically, builds trust. Isn't that crazy? Prepping for problems builds trust. You want to build trust, you want to build emotional connection, you prep them for these things. It will completely change your relationship with them. Oftentimes, what was the one way, okay, I'm going to pick on you since you pick on me all the time. When we talked about the communication class, how should we communicate? What are the two phrases? How should our voice be? And how fast?
Oh, slow.
Slow and
Low.
low. So when you communicate these things, you want, I think in the book, he calls about it as FM DJ voice, right? Nobody listens to FM radio anymore, but like that low DJ voice, when you communicate this and you preface this and you brace them for this, it's always low and slow. And what do you want there to be silence?
Yeah.
Why?
You always want that.
Why?
Let them think the worst.
First person who talks loses, right?
Mhm.
I'll lose every time, guaranteed. That's a losing battle for me every time. That's right. Like silence is gold. Silence is a close. Did you know that? Silence is one of the most effective closes. Sorry, Sean, what?
It's uncomfortable.
Totally is. It's unnatural. You must be bored with me. Why aren't you talking? I'm so much fun. Let's keep going, right? Like all those things, I'm the golden retriever, but no, silence is gold. You have to ignore that human nature of having to respond. All right, put the responsibility where it belongs. I'm sorry, we got to zoom through this. Own your role as a trusted advisor. It's not your job to decide anything. Only your client can do that. Detach from outcome. Anything detach from outcome. Because you're so, oftentimes you get stressed because I said it was going to be this, this, and this, and this, and this, and it's not resulting in that. How much stress is that on? You advise. You are not responsible for the outcome. You are not responsible for the education. You are there to help them see the vision and decide on themselves, right? You got to let go of ego. This is why the difference between empathy and sympathy. You have to let go of ego. It's not about you. It's never about you. As a real estate agent, it's never about you. It's probably why agents get such a bad rap in the first place, because they think it's always about them. It's always a money grab. It's always percentage. It's this, it's that, it's everything else. You are much more helpful if you don't feel bad about their problem. Let me say that again. You are much more helpful if you don't feel bad about their problem. That's a pretty interesting statement, right? But we're talking about empathy and sympathy, right? It's not your job to feel bad about their problem. That will just create misery in your own mind, your own inner peace. Because if you sympathize and do that, what does that do to the relationship? It makes it about you. It makes it about you. It's not about you. It's never about you. It's always about them. And so their problem is not your problem. You cannot save the deal. It's not your job. You aren't responsible for the appraisal. You aren't responsible for the loan. You cannot save. This is something I work with in my therapist because I think it's always my job to save my kids. It's not my job to save my kids. It's not your job to save the deal. Your job is what? The relationship. Your job is 100% the relationship. You are not the savior of the deal. You're not to solve all their problems. Your job is the relationship and to build trust. The number one thing you can do by letting them believe or helping them believe that you're actually listening, understanding. Accountability is always is higher than responsibility. You are not responsible for the outcome. We covered that. Leading and guiding. Taking the lead in the decision-making process violates your client's autonomy. You cannot lead. You cannot decide. You give them the information and let them do that. That emotional connection will guide them as long as you're following those habits. Empathy, not sympathy. We covered. Let them say no. Okay, this is Justin's favorite chapter, right? Or Kaylee, this is your favorite chapter. The chapter that you struggle with, you said? Why do you
I
struggle?
will struggle. Just a different.
Because we're always about momentum selling, right? Yes, 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 sign here, yes. Why is saying yes?
Get to yes, right?
What's that?
There's the book, Get to Yes. Get
Right.
to Yes, whatever it's called. right?
What does that do to a relationship when you're always focused on yes? What's that? Say that again.
Let you down.
When they feel yes, they feel out of control. Why? They don't want to say yes. Everyone wants to say no. Why is that our human nature? We're human wired to be negative. We want to say no because no, what does no bring? Right? When I'm calling someone to recruit them to come to our amazing office, my script is super simple, right? Tim with KW. Success. Did I catch you at that time? I would say 95% of my conversations are always a no. And then I lead with, this is 100% a recruiting call. You love these calls, don't you? What's their answer? No, no. Okay. What was your name again? Tiny Tim. No, you'll never forget it. No one will ever forget Tiny Tim. It'll always be in their minds. Like, why minute? It's the whole Seinfeld. Maybe I do, Kaylee. Maybe I do. All right. Do we have time for this?
You have to refer someone so that you can call them.
Okay, have you guys seen this? This is great. This is the idea of no. This is hopefully it'll play.
Oh, there you go.
My tongue.
Look at the mirror. Look what's going on. But like the idea is that this incites a what? An emotion, right? An emotion. He died. Hope you're happy.
Yeah, I'm never going back.
Okay, so here are these are great questions. If you ever like utilize anything, would it be opposed to me sharing a story? You're only as good as the stories you tell. I think Gary Keller said that. Would it be unreasonable to do a Zoom call before I visit the property? Like these are all eliciting no responses because no responses does what? Empowers them and creates engagement, right? Usually we'll lead it. Sorry, am I in the way? I'm actually not that tall, so I'm probably not in the way. It probably works out.
I totally understand. I'm not tall either.
It's all right.
It's fine.
And I embrace it. It's all good. A no response moves the conversation forward. You don't want to shy away from no responses. And these are calibrated questions. You can use these anywhere. And I think it's extremely effective. What would need to happen if, right? What would that look like? What should the next step be? How should we proceed? How will you decide? How would you see us working together? These are all wonderful questions to get engagement, to elicit emotion. Justin.
So on that previous slide, he opposed to, he brought up that, hey, is it okay if we do this? And the client's like, well, why would I want to do something extra? It brought up this thing, like, why would I want to do something outside of what's normal and extra? But when you say it like this, you're like, oh, yeah, it's like this, this is the normal. And it's not extra, it's part of the process. And I thought that was really interesting book.
Love it. Do you guys like those questions? I think it's wonderful. All right, nail the lasting impression. Send people away in a limo. It talks about Oprah. Again, we'll bring up Oprah. When she has guests that come to her show, they pick them up in a limo. But a lot of people like Jimmy Kimmel, some of these other talk shows, they pick them up in a limo and then they send them home in a taxi. And so they make this analogy that Oprah, their exit is just as powerful as their entrance. They are taken care of just as much as they leave as when they get to the show, which I think is right. You send people in a limo and there's a good chance they'll come back. This is interesting to me. 90% of buyers and sellers say they would work with the same agent again, but only 20% ever.
Because we're not following up, right?
Yeah, and now we're gonna talk about follow-up next team meeting. Why do you think this is other than follow-up? This is why you're able to get more business. These are why these qualifying questions are so impactful. Why didn't you go with your last agent? Why would you want to use someone like me?
From the book, the splitting the difference thing makes me question some things now.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't feel like it was a win on their end, even though we think that it was.
Yeah,
Right.
we came down half to meet,
Yeah.
like, this is fair, like, I'll come down half to meet you, and they feel like they lost twice.
I've
as much.
never.
Because
thought of
compromise is a lose-lose. I know we say win-win or no deal. It's when someone has to compromise, they lose. Even if it's $1,500, whatever that is, right? Because the loss is twice as powerful as winning the same. Yeah.
I also think this goes back to asking better questions and more questions, because I had one that we got a low offer, like, I think it was like 50 grand under what we had listed at, and we were still on the low side. And he's like, I'll take it. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, I don't want you to take it. He's like, but it gets me into Colorado sooner. And I'm like, oh, like, really? It was two thoughts, like, hey, I should have asked more questions then, because then we should have just lowered the price to get multiple offers. And then it also made me think, okay, like, I should have been in a better financial position to be able to jump on that if he's willing to go 50 grand.
How can you go back so you send them off in a limo to that conversation? How could you go back, seeing in hindsight, and have that conversation based upon tactical? Let's do this. This is a great scenario. Right? Like, you want to lead with the worst case. You probably hate me that I didn't qualify the questions of your priority of leaving a call. Right? Like, you want to leave them off in a win. Understanding that emotion and connecting with them on that is going to leave them off in a win rather than the $50,000 loss. Right? So you can go back, and if you've had bad exchanges with clients in the past, use the tactical empathy. You probably think I'm the worst agent. You probably hate me. This is probably why you never come to our pumpkin patch, right? Whatever that is, go back and have those conversations and see what emotion you get out of those clients. I would dare say that you'll get engagement, and you'll be able to leave them on a high, leave them on the limo, even if it was done a year or 2 to 3 years ago. Like, elicit that emotion, connect that emotional response. Then they're going to realize that you're actually a great agent. Why? Because you're not. Yeah, you're vulnerable. You're not perfect. You're not the expert, right? All right, agent, we kind of talked about this. It's like 6% is the biggest bargain on the planet, and they talk about it over and over again. Any finder's fee that you do in a multi-million-dollar transaction is always 10%. And I know this because I've been a part of that for a long time. Like, it's truly a huge discount, and you're helping them with their biggest investment of their life, right? I read a statistic in California that and I think I've said this before, helping someone buy their first home improves their net worth by $1 million. Isn't that crazy to think about? Here's the secret to getting a full fee. It's not about providing more value, being more persuasive, or changing anyone's mind. It's a function of the one thing, are you the favorite? If you're the favorite going in there, you could ask for 7%. So if you can break down knowing you're with a favorite of the full, all right? I went so far over. I'm sorry. This last one, Clayton Christensen, Harvard Business School. It's easier to do something 100% of the time than 98% of the time. If you discount someone at 4% and that communicates with someone that you're doing at 6%, what does that do to you? It will crush your business. Johnny always used to say that regional director of Utah, everyone's special, nobody's extra special. Because the family and the friends that you discount become the biggest what? Pain. When you discount, they become a major. This is, if you get in the book, get into the end, especially with this stuff, but I really want to get the fear of the feeling when it comes to commissions, what is truly most important to your client? Is it the fee you charge or the feeling you give them? They buy out of what? 100% out of emotion, right? All right, Alex, come on up here. Let's give a big hand for Alex at Richmond Homes. Alex? Sorry, I went way over. I'm so sorry, bro.
That's all right. My sales partner was late with the pizzas. I'm not too worried. All right, so my name's Alex Palmy with Richmond Homes. And I'm Andy Vasquez, also with Richmond Homes. So we have 5 different communities here in northern Utah, like considered northern, like outside of Salt Lake. So we have Mountain Green, we're just closing out. We got 6 homes there, I think, left. Yeah. Plus the model. I'm in a brand new community in Brigham City. We're also opening up another one in Willard. And then Andy.
Yeah, I'm stationed out of Taylor Landing, where we have about 107 homes that we're building there. And I'm also selling out of our new Harrisville community, where we have about 24 lots that we're selling out there as well.
You want to do that?
Yeah, so we just wanted to just quickly let you guys know, like, I mean, some of you guys have been in this industry for a minute and have worked with Richmond in the past. It's been a couple of years since we've had any product up this way. We've been pretty busy down in Tualatin County and Lower Salt Lake and Utah counties. We're still doing a lot of business down there. So if you have clients who are looking to relocate down south, definitely check out our website and check out the communities that we have available. What we wanted to let you guys know right now is that with some of the things that have been shifting, you know, as far as like, I mean, interest rates, like people were looking at the 50-point bump, right, a couple weeks ago, and buyers are looking for those rates to start following and that sort of thing. And we're seeing that they're still kind of lingering. We're offering some pretty competitive rates. They are in-house rates, so rates through our preferred lender. But right now we're offering 3.99% for 30 years fixed on FHA and VA loans. The buyers just require a 680 credit score to qualify for that rate. If they go conventional, we've got a 4.75% rate. And buyers need a 780 credit score on that to qualify. But what that ends up amounting to, I was just looking at, you know, in my communities, we're in the high 5s to low 6s. So on a $600,000 home with today's FHA rate, compared to that 3.99%, we can save your clients about $600 on the principal and interest. Now, obviously, you know, there's PMI to consider and property taxes, but all things being the same, we're talking a savings of over $7,000 over the course of each year, just by utilizing our preferred lender and it's just coming and seeing. So we just want to invite you guys to come see the product yourself, come walk the model, check out the communities. Taylor is a beautiful rural area. I mean, we're built right up next to some horse property. So for people in Weber County going, man, this congestion is getting out of hand, and they want a bit of that country feel, but they still want all the access and amenities that Ogden has to offer. Taylor is an awesome opportunity. For people who are looking for a larger home, we've got, 3,500 to just under 5,000 square foot homes in Harrisville. They're all ramblers, all basement homes. In each of those communities, we have at least one floor plan that facilitates an RV garage, 42 foot deep, 15 foot doors. I mean, people that have come out and checked those out have just been amazed by the price point that we're able to offer a product like that to them for. So
What's your entry level price?
right now, like as of today, we've got a couple homes that are priced at 569.9. That's bare bottom.
Cool. Engineering townhomes.
What's that? You know, as a builder, Richmond is looking at bringing one of their townhome products out, but it's not here just yet. Yeah, so these are all single family homes.
At the point of the mountain, we're one of the big builders at where the old jail, where the prison used to be. So that's where we're gonna start building our townhomes and stuff, because they're trying to do a walking community over there. We've already been approved for it with us and a couple other builders, but that's still 2 years out to me, so. So I'll go over mine. So my community up in Brigham City, we are building, we have 3 phases. We're in phase 1 right now. We're building 112 homes. Our entry right now, I think my lowest price point, they sold the shortest one, is 444,000. And so we sell a lot of homes in my community compared to other ones just because our price point's a lot lower. People don't mind driving an extra 20-25 minutes to save $60,000-$70,000 on a home. And so like with like Marsha Merrill, she's already sold 1. I'm working with 2 more with her right now. And with her, I've already got her 0.5% higher. So with her BAC, if you guys keep bringing us people, I'm always there to make sure you guys get paid more. And so that's our whole thing. So with my community, we've been open up about 3.5 months. And yesterday I wrote the 13th contract. So usually when people bring buyers out to us, like our community is it's a beautiful community in Brigham City. We're just barely on the outside. We're closer to the freeway access, which is really nice for people. Most of the people in our community are people that work on Hill Air Force Base, work in Layton, all the way down to Kaysville, Salt Lake area. We have one pilot that's buying in there because it's easy for him to go all the way to the airport back and forth and stuff. We're really close to the freeway access. So we are a non-basement product. So we finish the top 2 levels. But that's what a lot of people like, that it's just gorgeous little community. And then again, like our price points are a lot lower. We have 4 different floor plans. So we start off at 444, and then our highest is a little over 5. So, and then we are a USDA for my community. So if you have buyers that can qualify under that, we'd love to. Our whole thing is just like for both me and Andy, like our whole company is just like, we just want to build nice homes, build nice communities. So we just want to help, keep finding people like you guys, keep bringing us business. We want to keep getting you guys paid, just keep building, nice communities. Because then when they want to turn around and resell again, of course, hopefully we'll call you right back. So.
Yeah, so I don't know, any other questions as far as like the product or location, anything like that?
So yeah, if you have any good buyers, bring it to us. Cause a 3.99, so we're doing like a 3.99, and it's mainly going towards the end of the year for anything we can close by the end of the year, which in my community, it's every single home that we're building right now, -1, because that one won't be finished built until like the 1st of January. But yeah, like talk with Marsha, Sean Janke, your broker, already have I referenced out one of my buyers to him. He's already listed the property, so he can bring the buyer back to us and stuff like that. So that's why we're here. We're trying to work more with your guys' office and stuff. So because the more you guys, like I said, the more you bring clients to us, the more we can bring more money towards you and stuff. So
do you guys start out like 3% commission and then
2% on if it's non-complete, and then 3% on complete.
Okay.
So, and then then again, like with Marsha, she brought me one client, the next week she already brought me another. And then the next week she already brought me another one. So this is on the second one, I heard it call my manager. I was like, hey, she's already starting to bring competitive business. I'm like, what can we do? He's like, all right, we can go 0.5% right now. It's like she keeps bringing more, we'll keep going up. It's like, okay, let's do that. So that's why she's constantly looking for people to bring to Brigham City. I talk with her every 3 days or 2 days. So we do. So I'll leave this up here. Over there has all of our interest rates, all that kind of fun stuff. Has all our different floor plans. I put my price sheet in here, so if you guys have any questions, my full price sheets in here, community maps, all that kind of fun stuff. So if you have any questions, please give us a call. We'd love to help you, and let's keep working together.
And it's a fixed interest rate, 3.99.
Correct. Yeah. And then with that, so with our interest rate, so if you go with our in-house lender, Home America Mortgage Corporation, HMC, they give you 3% or 2% of what the base price is of the home. So you can utilize that to go in to buy down your interest rate to the 3.99, or you get bumped up to, I think it's 4.25 right now or something like that. And you can utilize that 2% toward your closing costs. So it matters if they have money for their closing costs right now. If not, our interest rate still just a little bit higher, but way lower market rate. So it's still gonna love it. Yeah, and it's still gonna be like a really good rate for them. But now all of a
And then
sudden
they-
you're their hero because
Yeah.
they don't have to bring
Yeah,
so much
that's
to the table at the very end. So we have buyers constantly doing back. You know, some buyers just like, oh yeah, I have 10% to put down right now. Other people are just like, okay, I have enough for the FHA loan, but I don't really have a lot for, my closing costs. Okay, let's do it. Let's work it out. So. Good questions.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you guys.
Lauren Ahad, right?
Uh-huh.
Ask her-
No,
That
if you guys
wasn't
wanna
that
decorate your
fun.
12 minutes to put on these gorgeous football fields, or if you need another football to do your takeaway to get some extra yardage, yeah.
Write your takeaway, get your yardage.
Hey, Lauren, is there a reason you didn't want to already decorate mine?
You want me to put a gold star on it for you, Justin?
A gold stallion, a gold
There you go.
Mustang,
Got spray paint.
Just trying to leverage already.
gold spray.
Hey,
You have gold spray.
get
in your truck?
decorating, get some extra yardage, folks,
Right down the street.
and go eat some.
Come hang your stuff, guys.
You broke it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for participating. It always makes it so fun. Even when you make fun of me, that's the best part.